G'day everybody, welcome to another week of the free newsletter for the Grow Me Co. Good to have you here and a big welcome to all the new members as well. Great to have you guys here. Now this is a week where I'm actually taking a week off. I am with my kids and my partner's kids. We have 6 kids at the moment. It's a lot going on, and therefore I'm not putting as much time. I just don't have the time to put into the markets. But what I do always do is make sure I have a look and give you guys an update on what's going on, and especially touching on this week in general, because there's some big stuff happening right now. The first thing I wanted to show to kick things off is just to show there's only one trade that I raised an order on last week, and in fact I actually cancelled the order because I was going to bed when the market was down here. The trade remained valid. I only cancelled the order because I was about to go to bed. PLUME back over here is a beautiful little cradle that you would have learnt in the course. Obviously, with a higher low here, your stop loss would have been moved to here, and then to here, and then to here. For those of you that got that, you would have been 2.36 times the multiple of risk. So in very simple terms, and without scale out, all that sort of stuff, if you risked $100, you would have profited $236. That would have been, if you scaled out, a little bit less than that, but nevertheless, one trade last week that made the grade and one profit. And that was the same as last week. There was one trade on dot that I took, one profit. There were a lot more trades the week before actually went around that dot position that had bigger moves. But anyway, we stick to the rules, we follow those rules, and we came out with a profit again last week for those that got on board. Now this week, what's going on? Well, let's talk to Bitcoin right now because it is the chart of the moment. We are building up to the higher end of this range, up around this resistance. Test 1, test 2, not quite a third. If I can get a third test up in here, then now I've got a place. I'm going to put a stop loss down here. If I can get a third test on this level, and I'll be looking for a Bitcoin breakout long on Bitcoin itself, and I'll be looking to run this for quite some time. Why? Well, let me show you the weekly here. Pullback for a higher low. If we can take out this high here and set an all-time high, we will have an uptrend on the weekly. Now, it started off pretty well, bouncing out of the cradle zone here 2 weeks ago. Last week, not doing a great deal, up 0.78%. But if we can continue the momentum to the upside, whether it's this week or next week or whenever it may be, we will have a weekly uptrend to go once again with our monthly uptrend, which is playing out just beautifully. So far, we haven't really got a huge amount out of the last pullback. I'd like to be seeing something like what we saw over here with a very strong run after it took out all-time highs. Now, that run was 48%. What would we get if we can get a 48% run from breaking all-time highs here? Let's have a look. Something in the vicinity of, what's that? Oh, I've made it go away. Whoops. What did I say? 48%. Something around 166,000, which would certainly be very, very welcome, of course. Now, the chart is setting up very similar to the last time we did push to all-time highs in the sense that we pulled back to the cradle zone, moved away, pulled back to the cradle zone, and if we can take out this high here, we might just see a very, very good move. That's what I'm hoping for. So again, flipping back now to the daily, if we can get it pushing up into this resistance for third test, I will be happily looking for a swing long position here on Bitcoin. Now, what could stop something like this? Well, as you'll see in the body of the email, I talk about the non-farm payrolls. The unemployment figures were pretty good. Okay, that was good. We saw then Trump suggesting that they were going to be moving the tariff date, the 90-day relaxing of those tariffs from July 9th to August 1st. And overnight, Trump also came out and said he's slapping a few more tariffs around. So what I'm seeing at the moment is that we've still got, you get a glass of water. You probably did this experiment when you're in school and you put some oil in it and there's oil in the water and you can quite clearly see where that oil is. Well, we prefer to have a clean glass of water. Right now, I'm still seeing that there's oil in that water and the oil is around these tariffs. When Trump slaps these tariffs down, generally the immediate effect is for the market to pull back. Okay, then the deals might get done and then they relieve those tariffs, or a deal gets made that everyone can be comfortable with, and then the market gets strong again. And we're seeing this again here now. We've got till August 1st. I had hoped that would mean no talk of tariffs through the month of July, giving us a very clean run in the markets, a bit of certainty at least for the month. But as it turns out, again, Trump has opened his mouth about these tariffs, and we did see a bit of a sell-off in the S&P 500. And of course, we saw a little sell-off on Bitcoin as well. So hopefully that's it for now, and we can get this momentum back to the upside and start to really put some effort into and put some pressure on this resistance level, because if we can see that, take this level out, we will be in a very, very, very good place indeed. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin's dominance? Well, let's have a look here, because we saw last week not a great deal occurred, just a slight pullback of 0.09%, more or less a flat week. As you can see, the weekly trend is still very much intact. Let me just reset the MACD down here, but we do have divergence on these highs. Now, don't get me wrong, I obviously want to see Bitcoin move higher. I don't necessarily need to see the Bitcoin dominance chart move higher. I would much prefer to see Bitcoin moving higher and the Bitcoin dominance chart decreasing steadily. Why? Well, a steady declining Bitcoin dominance chart with a steady incline in Bitcoin's price typically mean only one thing. It means the alts have woken up. And you know me, I'm a trader. I will trade my strategies, for which I have very, it's a checklist. It's a key, very simple, straightforward rules. I want to apply those rules across all of my trading pairs, not just the ones that are trending. And the thing is, the reality is I only trade when markets are trending. If we can see this Bitcoin dominance chart start to decline consistently and steadily, it will mean only one thing. If Bitcoin's moving higher, it will mean that the alt markets have picked up and we'll have a heap of wonderful trends here. And when we get great trends, whether it be uptrending or downtrending, we can make very, very good money from executing those strategies with a flawless execution. So I'm hoping to see this chart start to pull back and for Bitcoin to start to move higher. What will cause this will be Bitcoin breaking out of that resistance and seeing this particular chart here, which is the total market cap minus Bitcoin. What we'll need to see is we'll need to see something like this. Some very good strength coming back in, which we saw in November of last year, which will get the alts a kick up the backside and get them moving. Now, the level I'm looking for is to get through this point right here at 1.28 trillion. Keep in mind, this is the entire market cap minus Bitcoin. So we get above 1.28 trillion, we'll have a higher low on the weekly and a higher high, and that really would open up the gate for alts to be running, and they should be running at that stage. Bitcoin dominance to be decreasing, yet Bitcoin's price still increasing as well. If I show you the total market cap right now, you'll see it doesn't look quite so bad as the total minus Bitcoin. Why is that? Quite simply put, this chart includes Bitcoin in it. So the alts have been pulling it back, but Bitcoin's been remaining pretty resilient up around or up above $100,000. This is why this chart is still quite buoyant. Once again, we've got to get above 3.5 trillion for us to have a higher low on the weekly and then a subsequent higher high before hopefully pushing on to all-time highs on our total market cap. Now, the reason I'm talking about total market cap, the reason I'm talking about Bitcoin's all-time highs, the reason I'm talking about all of this stuff is that we've got some liquidity coming back into the markets, but with the non-farm payrolls or the unemployment rates decreasing quite significantly, decreasing, which was good, we have a much higher probability of rates to be dropped. Now, in Australia today, it might have, I haven't been keeping an eye, as I said, I've been with 6 kids. We may have seen a rate decrease. If we start to see that in the US, it will mean more liquidity in the markets. It will then flow into risk on assets, which is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. When we start to see that, combined with the fact that this big, beautiful bill that's being talked about at the moment is a huge liquidity injection into markets as well, we are setting up to have a very, very strong push of liquidity, which we will see trickle into these markets. And we should, if all this goes to plan, see further upside, not just in Bitcoin, but the entire crypto space, the projects that are worth anything, that is. So again, just flipping back right now, what I'm looking at is for Bitcoin to consolidate further into this resistance level. I would love to not see it push lower. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I'm saying what I would like to see, because don't forget, I plan my trade. When the trade sets up, I find it very easy to execute. My plan for Bitcoin, should it do it, is to give me a third test here. Then I can have a stop loss somewhere around down here, wherever the high or low may be. And then I'll be looking to run a Bitcoin margin long position into the back end of the year. I really hope I get that opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, it is a matter of watching and waiting for this level right here and doing your scan of the rest of the pairs that are available. Because even as I said before, only one trade last week, but because we know what to look for, well, for those of you that have learnt my strategies, because you know what to look for and you know when to stay out, you can cherry pick the odd move and still be making money, even when a market is rather quiet like we're seeing at the moment. Anyway, I will speak to you again next week, which is when I will be back doing my scans in the morning for all of you in Discord. Everybody else, welcome for the new people. And for those that are sitting on the fence, guys, look, do what you're going to do. But if you want to learn to trade with a plan, managing your risk and know what to do in a great community, then you need to join. I'll be back next week doing my scans. I'll be back next week showing you what I'm trading. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to a break this week. But don't sit back and watch too much longer. Just get started. You're not going to regret it. I promise you that. Have a great week, guys. I'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now.